Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together, gathered here. Buenos días y bienvenidos. Good morning and welcome. I am the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, one of your ministers here at Cedar Lane.
And I'm Dr. Henry Segrishi. My pronouns him, he. I'm your director of music. And on behalf of the entire congregation, we welcome you to our worship service this morning.
Whether you're joining us in person or online, know that whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrive to this beloved place, and whatever your gender identity and expression, beliefs, or immigration status, you are welcome here. And it is a special service today. But before we get too far into our service, I want to invite all of the amazing volunteers from the auction to please raise your hand. Thank you. This entire building was transformed and then put back together, and merriment happened. So I'm sorry if you missed it, but it was amazing. And I'm wondering if you were one of those amazing cooks, or if you participated in the auction in some way, if you could raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you.
Whether you are joining us. If you are new to Cedar Lane, please raise your hand if you are comfortable doing so. Any brave ones here? Thank you.
Welcome.
We invite you to stop by the welcome table after the service so our greeters can give you the salutation of the day, and perhaps a brochure that talks about Cedar Lane, and maybe a place where you can talk a little bit about yourselves, share some information.
I'd like to draw your attention to the announcements, which are on a wonderful, conveniently sized sheet of paper right next to the orders of celebration and the pillars in the back of the room. And they talk about the many amazing things that will be happening this week in this congregation where love works. That's right. Super special announcement. There is a congregational meeting right here at 12:45. So members, please be sure to make your way into the lounge to get fully checked in, and know that the renovation task force will also be present to answer questions.
This first Sunday in November is celebrated as All Souls Day in church services throughout the world. These services are devoted to honoring those who have died, and often feature special musical selections. A portion of today's service will allow us to embrace and celebrate the lives, memories of loved ones, friends, and even pets who have passed away through unique music created for this occasion. Clif Hardin's Requiem for choir and instrumentalists is a masterful work that draws on texts from various authors and poets to explore the range of emotions we experience when someone special leaves our world. The other portion of today's service embraces sanctuary and the role it plays in protecting the many who have come to our country seeking a better life only to face cold, harsh, and often inhumane treatment. This morning, our choir and instrumentalists will offer the world premiere. Now, I can say that because we're live streaming. I mean, the work was actually done 2 hours ago. But we'll tell the world that this is the world premiere of local composer Charlie Barnett's composition, Sanctuary, an Anthem to Love. This work is the inspiration of Cedar Lane member Sandy Shaw, who wrote the lyrics which Mr. Barnett then set to music. It represents a culmination of Sandy Shaw's desire to highlight the struggles of immigrants who cross the borders and fall into the hands of seemingly uncaring officials. And the music reflects what it means to create a sanctuary, a place of protection, refuge, and above all, a caring love for immigrants who face unknown futures. It celebrates the strong will of the Cedar Lane congregation in creating sanctuary for a mother and her children. And it raises the hope that other communities will follow our lead. Thank you.
Our pastoral visitor today is Ann Meyer. Ann is seated right near a very special Joys and Sorrows candles table today. It's a little bit more bedazzled than you're used to seeing. And we want you to know that you're invited throughout the service to come forward as your heart calls you to write on one of these leaves the name of someone that you love, whom you have lost. And there's also LED candles, which are friendly for all ages, for you to light in this time of remembrance. And there's another really great thing on this table: pipe cleaners. And here's why these are great. Because you can make a flower out of these for a remembrance of your loved one. You could make a cool ring out of it. And it could be something that you hold in your hands throughout the service. And for anyone like me who learns best when we have something in our hands, know that this is available for you today also. So now let us center ourselves for a time of remembrance, reflection, celebration, and commitment with the words from the Reverend Kathleen McTeague. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us.
It is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived.
We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion.
They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be.
Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust.
They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady.
Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own.
We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts.
We carry them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living.
Spalay comes forward to kindle the chalice, symbol of our gathered community. Please rise in body or in spirit to share in unison the chalice lighting words upon the screen. We kindle our chalice as a sign, a symbol of ancient fires, burning away the past to illuminate the future. May its light serve as a beacon of love for all those who mourn, as a guide for the presence and legacy of all those we remember. Please remain as you are as we sing hymn number 336, All My Memories of Love, and the words will also be
Reverend Abhi, I brought someone special with me today.
You did?
Yeah. Would you like to pet him?
Oh, sure. Oh.
He's very friendly.
Yes. It's just like the one that's in our backyard.
Ah. You have a fox in your backyard?
Yes, but he's not so friendly.
Not as friendly, okay. So this reminds me of a story I know about a fox. And a story about some other animals too. Do we have any animals in the audience or in the sanctuary? Oh, I see some. If you have an animal mask, why don't you come and have a seat on our rug up here? If you're a bunny or
a bear or
an
a raccoon
owl,
or an owl or a deer.
come on up. I know I see some. Mm-hmm. So we're going to need your help to tell this story. And you can help from your seat, too. That's okay. There once was a fox who lived with all the other animals in the forest. Go ahead and put your mask on so we know that you're one of the animals. You can put it on from your seat or you can put it on up here. Fox had lived a long and happy life, but now he was tired. Very slowly, Fox made his way to his favorite spot in the clearing. He looked at his beloved forest one last time. And lay down. Fox closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and fell asleep forever. Everything around Fox was still and peaceful. Snow began to fall, gently covering him with a quiet blanket. Now Wolf had watched from a distance, and she tiptoed closer and stood next to her friend. You can come on up. She had known Fox for a very long time, but Wolf knew that the time had come for her friend to leave. One by one, all of Fox's friends came to the clearing. First hedgehog and raccoon, then bear and wolf, more wolves, and finally rabbit and mouse and others came to sit by Fox. Fox had been loved by everyone. He had been kind and caring, and no one could imagine life in the forest without him. The animals sat in silence for a very long time. Then they quietly rejoined their parents and loving adults back at their seats as they thought deeply about how much they had loved Fox and other people that they had lost while the music played.
Give me your hand by these gray waters. The day is ending. Already the first faint star pierces the veil of heaven. Oh, the long way we two have come in joy together by these gray shores and quiet waters. And the day's ending. The day is ending. The journey is ended. Give me your hand. Give me your hand. Give me your hand.
So the children with Mass and without Mass all gathered around Fox. Come on up, children. And those young at heart who can kneel. Deborah the deer was the first to speak. She smiled warmly and said, "I remember when Fox and I were very young. Every autumn we raced to see who could catch more falling leaves." The other animals remembered and smiled. Mouse said softly, "I remember how much Fox loved the sunset. He always sat at this exact spot." The animals remembered. Many of them had joined Fox watching the sun go down. It was a happy memory, and their sad hearts filled with warmth. Bear remembered how Fox had looked after her cubs one spring. Rabbit smiled when she told the story of how Fox played tag with her in the tall grass. Wolf talked about Fox helping him burrow a home in the deep snow last winter. One by one, the animals remembered their favorite stories about Fox. Fox had touched the lives of all the animals in the forest with his warmth and kindness, and they all smiled, remembering. And while the animals talked, a little orange plant grew out of the snow where Fox was lying. Small and delicate at first and hardly noticeable, the plant grew bigger, stronger, and more beautiful with each story. The animals talked about Fox all through the night, and in the morning, the little plant had grown into a small tree. The animals saw the tree and knew that Fox was still with them. During the next days, weeks, and months, the animals remembered many more stories about Fox. Their heavy hearts began to feel lighter. The more they remembered, the more the tree grew, higher and more beautiful, until it was the tallest tree in the forest, a tree made from memories and full of love. Fox's tree was big and strong enough to shelter all the animals. It was always buzzing with life. The birds built their nests among the leaves, and raccoon raised his grandbabies in a hollow in the tree. Hedgehog found a cozy home in the trunk, and bear, deer, and rabbit slept in its shade. The tree gave strength to everyone who had loved Fox. And so it is.
now no roses at my head, nor shady cypress tree. Shadows, I shall not feel the rain. I shall not hear the nightingale sing on as if in pain. The witty, the brave, I know, but I do not approve. I know, but I do not approve. And I am not resigned. And I am not resigned.
In this time of remembrance, we bring into our hearts all those who have gone before us. And as we share today's litany, the responsive words that you will share are we remember you and we honor you with our deeds. There are also places in this litany for you to speak the names of those with whom you have personally lost, those who've been lost in the community or the community beyond even our county or state. And know in those places you are free to speak those words out loud. All those whose living in this world has prepared the soil for our living.
Let us also remember those who are our physical descendants and those whose spirits inherit the love we sow, the hope we reap, the promise we harvest.
Let us hold in our hearts and speak the names of our ancestors.
We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds. Let us hold in our hearts and speak the names of our loved ones who have passed this year. We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds.
Let us hold in our hearts and speak the names of those from our Cedar Lane community who have passed this year.
Nicholas Delcroix.
Betsy Stewart, or Mary Stewart.
We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds. Let us hold in our hearts and speak the names of those from the larger community who have passed this year. We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds.
Let us hold in our hearts and speak the names of those who have lost their children, the children we have lost born, and those who were not born.
We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds. Let us hold in our hearts and speak the names of those whose lives were lost to natural calamities and mass acts of violence this year. We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds.
Let us hold in our hearts the lives that have been lost while trying to cross the border into our country, hoping for a better life, only to have their lives cut short.
We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds. Let us hold in our hearts those who have died in detention centers. We remember you, and we honor you with our deeds.
Let us hold these remembrances in this space and in our hearts. Let us also remember the many memories of joy, the lives that were lived as best as they could be in the time that they have. Let us create memory trees with these stories that will provide shelter for us and for the generations to come. May we build these trees with the seeds of these memories and with our deeds. May it be so. Amen. I invite anyone who is remembering the loss of a loved one or honoring the anniversary of a loss to please rise in body or spirit as we hold the silence together. May all hearts broken open by loss be filled with the spirit of restoration. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. I'd like to invite everyone to please rise in body or spirit as we sing together Spirit of Life in Spanish. Caminante, no hay camino. Caminante, son tus huellas, el camino y nada más. Caminante, no hay camino. Se hace camino al andar se hace el camino y al volver la vista atrás se ve la senda que nunca se ha de volver a pisar. Caminante, no hay camino, sino estelas en la mar.
Traveler, there is no path. Traveler, the path is your tracks and nothing more. Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking. By walking, you make a path, and turning, you look back at a way you will never tread again. Traveler, there is no road, only wakes in the sea.
Compassion, agape.
Thank you, members of the choir, musicians, Jasmine, Henry, for those beautiful pieces bringing to life Clif Hardin's Requiem and Charlie Barnett and Sandy Shaw's Anthem on Sanctuary. What a blessing. Thank you. Thank you. Henry, thank you. Wow. As Henry shared, today is All Souls Sunday at Cedar Lane, when we gather to remember our loved ones and those in our community who have died this year. Now, All Souls Day is observed at a time of the year when our losses are often brought home to us as particularly poignant. The autumn of the year, just after harvest time, on the way to winter. But All Souls Day isn't only for the dead, it's also for the living. It's actually for the living. Because the commemoration gives us an opportunity to examine our lives in the context of our own mortality and to recommit ourselves to cherishing and protecting life as a precious gift. In other words, to be a living sanctuary of remembrance and belonging. Now, the anthem that we just heard captures so much about the concept of sanctuary and its many meanings, as is witnessed and understood in many cultures. It speaks to our essential mission as a religious community to create a living sanctuary right here, right now. The word sanctuary itself comes from the Latin root sanctuarium, a holy place. The first part of the word, sanctus, means that which is holy. And the second, arium, means a container, something that holds. Sanctuary is therefore a place that holds that which is holy. Sanctuary has many meanings. It can mean reconnecting with our true selves. So it is not just a place, but a way of being. As the Zen koan says, with who we are before our parents were born. It means connecting with a life larger than our own that preceded us and will continue after us. It can mean a place or circumstance where we seek and find comfort and renewal of the mind, body, and spirit after the challenges that we encounter in life and in our world. It means recognizing the essential truth that we need one another, taking care of each other when we get sick, comforting one another when we encounter life's inevitable losses, and marking life's passages with one another. Forming a sense of connection and belonging is another way that we can create sanctuary for ourselves and others. A connection not just with each other, but with those who have gone before us. Our religious, our church, and our personal ancestors, and also those who will follow us. Over the past 11 months, one meaning of sanctuary that we have been actively engaged in here at Cedar Lane is the ancient tradition of religious communities providing sanctuary to people being persecuted by the government by being a physical sanctuary for and with Doña Rosa and her family. And finally, we create sanctuary when we care for one another at an even larger level, recognizing that we are a part of the family of all souls. Now, these words are from 19th-century Unitarian forebear William Ellery Channing, who said, "I am a living member of the great family of all souls, and I cannot improve or suffer myself without diffusing good or evil around me through an ever-engaging sphere. I belong to this family. I am bound to it by vital bonds. Now, the all souls that Channing is referring to is all family, a great big human and non-human family of the living and the dead, ancestors and descendants, friends and strangers, citizens and immigrants, the past and the future, bound to one another, responsible for one another, caring for one another, and supporting one another on life's journey. Grounded in this theological affirmation, we are called to build religious communities committed to bearing witness to the human family, reconciled and whole, intentionally multiracial and pluralistic, congregations of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer and straight, young and old, all genders and all abilities. And we are called to build a larger and larger sanctuary of beloved community where all souls are welcome in our world. I am grateful that we have this place, not just this beautiful physical space that we hope we will commit to improving shortly, but more importantly, this religious community, our spiritual home, a community where we can be in sanctuary together amid the many challenges and sorrows, be a center from which we gather strength and courage to regain our bearings, to renew our faith, and to be present to one another with faithfulness and love. A place where we deepen our practice of being sanctuary, so that we can go back out into the world as wounded healers to keep creating, co-creating love's sanctuary. So I close with these words from Salvadoran poet Roque Dalton. I believe the world is beautiful and that my veins don't end in me, but in the unanimous blood of those who struggle for life, love, little things, landscape, and bread, the poetry of everyone. So may it be. As the ushers come forward, I invite us to ponder the meanings of sanctuary and give of ourselves generously to be a living sanctuary here at Cedar Lane and in the world. Our offering will now be given and gratefully received.
When you see me, you don't know me. Just another stranger, someone different, unfamiliar. Do you think of danger before you close your door? Would you consider something more? Get to know me, where I'm from, where I live, stories that I have to give. When we share the things that we've been through, I could get to know you too. Refugee is such a sad road, driven from my homeland, shattered families without freedoms, dignity a memory before you would refuse. Come cross a border in my shoes. Get to know me, where I'm from, where I live, stories that I have to give. When we share the things that we've been through, I could get to know you too. Scattered His pictures people left behind in piles of broken, wasted towns. And we drowned and starved till someone turns around before you close your door. Would you consider something more? Get to know me, where I'm from, where I live, stories that I have to give when we share the things that we've been through. I could get to know you too.
For all that we bring and share to make this a living sanctuary, may we be grateful. Please rise in body and or in spirit to follow the quartet's lead in singing Sanctuary. Please remain as you are and hold hands with your neighbor. We close our time together with these words from the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. In the daily weave of our lives, those who have died are still strong, guiding threads. They are part of the whole cloth of our lives. They are our ancestors, the goers before. In the hour-to-hour rush of our daily tasks, they travel with us through something they taught us, which is now ours to do, through something they loved, which is now ours to carry out, through something we shared, which is now ours alone and yet not. In the minute-to-minute grasp of where we are, we remember the joys our departed gave us, which opened us up to hope. The sorrows we knew together, which taught us strength. The life shared, which is now ours to steward. In the second-to-second pulse of life, we sense the spirit of those we have loved and lost. They are more than remembered. They are memory itself. For what we love lives on in the way our beloved dead accompany us through our lives. Their words and wisdom our guide, their humor our relief, their restless concern for the world our charge to be love's sanctuary here and in our world. May it be so. Blessed be. Please be seated for the postlude.